When Elvis Presley was just 14 years old, he was far from the confident superstar the world remembers today. He was a quiet, shy boy from Tupelo, Mississippi, a kid who often kept to himself, unsure of where he belonged. His family lived a modest life, constantly wrestling with financial hardship, and the young Elvis grew up surrounded by uncertainty and restlessness. Yet even in those early years, there was one thing that remained constant: his love for music. He listened to gospel at church, blues on the streets, and country songs echoing from scratchy radios. Music was his escape, his comfort, his quiet companion in a world that often felt too big for him. But the path from that shy kid to the king of rock and roll was far from easy. And one of the most painful obstacles he encountered came from a place he never expected: his own classroom. At 14, Elvis wasn't the kind of boy teachers placed high expectations on. He wasn't particularly outgoing, nor was he the kind of student who attracted attention with confidence or natural charisma. In fact, he was often overlooked, blending into the background, overshadowed by students who were louder, bolder, more traditionally talented. But Elvis had something else, something that couldn't be measured by grades or classroom achievements. He had a spark, a quiet passion burning inside him, and he hoped, even if he didn't fully believe it yet, that maybe music could be his way forward. One day, after a small school singing performance, Elvis mustered the courage to share something of himself. He sang in front of his classmates, hoping someone, anyone, might recognize the potential he felt deep inside. But instead of encouragement, instead of guidance, he was met with something that crushed him. His teacher, unimpressed by his soft and unpolished voice, told him bluntly, "You'll never be a singer." The words hit him like a blow to the chest. For a moment, everything went silent. His classmates snickered, some whispering, others shrugging indifferently. Elvis felt his cheeks heat up, his stomach sink, and he wished more than anything to disappear from that moment. That single sentence, cold, dismissive, and absolute, became one of the most defining words in his young life. He walked home that day in silence, his mind replaying the insult over and over. "You'll never be a singer." It echoed like a cruel melody he couldn't turn off. For a boy already battling insecurity, those words cut deep. It would have been easy for him to give up right then. Many would have. But life has a strange way of turning pain into purpose. In the quiet of his room that evening, Elvis picked up his battered guitar, the one his mother had bought him with money she could scarcely spare. He strummed the strings softly, letting the familiar vibrations soothe him. In that moment, he made a promise, not to his teacher, not to his classmates, but to himself. He promised that he wouldn't let that cruel sentence define him. Even if he didn't become a singer, it wouldn't be because he didn't try. That night was a turning point. A spark that might have faded became a flame. Over the next few years, Elvis practiced relentlessly. He sang in church, he played at small gatherings, he absorbed every style of music he could find. Gospel, rhythm and blues, country, soul. Each genre shaped him in ways he didn't fully understand yet. While other teenagers worried about fitting in, Elvis focused on finding his voice, his identity. He didn't imitate others. He blended styles, bending them, reshaping them until they became something entirely new, something entirely his. But even as his passion grew, so did the challenges around him. His family moved to Memphis when he was 13, and their new life wasn't easy. They lived in a poor neighborhood, surrounded by uncertainty. Elvis attended a rougher school, filled with kids who came from struggles similar to his own. Yet it was in Memphis that his musical horizons expanded even further. Beale Street became one of his greatest classrooms. He listened to the raw, powerful blues pouring from bars and street corners, absorbing rhythms that would later become the backbone of rock and roll. Still, the voice of his teacher lingered. Every time he doubted himself, he heard those words like a distant echo. "You'll never be a singer." But instead of breaking him, it drove him. Every song he practiced, every chord he learned, every late-night session with his guitar was fueled by that lingering memory. In his heart, he wasn't trying to prove his teacher wrong. He was trying to prove to himself that he deserved to dream. By the time Elvis turned 18, he had grown into a young man with a unique style. Slicked back hair, flashy clothes, music tastes that cross boundaries no one else dared cross. But he was still unsure of his place in the world. He worked odd jobs, from driving trucks to operating machinery, while his dreams simmered quietly in the background. On a hot summer day, with encouragement from a small circle of friends, Elvis walked into the doors of Sun Studio to make a simple recording, just a personal keepsake, nothing more. He paid a few dollars, stepped up to the microphone, and sang a heartfelt ballad. The receptionist, Marion Kiesker, heard something in his voice, something that his teacher never did, something honest, emotional, different. That recording session would eventually lead to a turning point in music history. Sam Phillips, the founder of Sun Studio, took interest in the young man with the soulful voice. During one late-night jam session, Elvis, together with guitarist Scotty Moore and bassist Bill Black, began fooling around with a sped-up version of That's All Right. Something clicked. A new sound was born. Something electrifying. Something the world had never heard before. Within days, the track played on local radio, and the phone lines lit up with people asking, "Who is that?" The shy 14-year-old who had once been humiliated in front of his class was suddenly on the brink of stardom as Elvis's fame exploded. He traveled across the country, performing on stages he could never have imagined. Audiences screamed, danced, cried, drawn not only to his voice, but to the raw emotion he carried with him everywhere he went. His sound was bold, rebellious, vibrant. It broke racial barriers, musical boundaries, and cultural norms. He wasn't just singing songs. He was changing the very fabric of American music. Every step of the way he carried his past with him, the struggles, the doubts, the criticism, and yes, the voice of that teacher. But now, the world was speaking louder than that memory ever could. The boy who was told he would never be a singer became the man recognized globally as the king of rock and roll. His concerts shattered attendance records. His albums sold millions. His influence reached every corner of the world. And with every performance, every note, Elvis unknowingly delivered a message far more powerful than the cruel words he once heard. He proved that a single insult does not define a person's destiny. Years later, Elvis visited his old school. Some say he ran into the same teacher who once doubted him. According to many accounts, though the details vary, the teacher reportedly asked for his autograph. Whether the story is fully true or not, it symbolizes something undeniable. Even the ones who doubt you can end up standing in awe of what you become. Elvis's journey is more than a biography. It's a life lesson. It's a reminder that greatness often blooms from unlikely places, from quiet boys in small towns, from families struggling to get by, from kids who feel unseen and unheard, from teenagers who are told they'll never be enough. Elvis was all of those things, and yet he rose, not because he was fearless, but because he refused to let fear dictate his path. He turned pain into passion, doubt into drive, rejection into rhythm, insult into inspiration. And through that transformation, he didn't just become a singer. He became an icon, a legend, a symbol of what can happen when you believe in yourself even when others don't. His music changed the world. His presence reshaped pop culture. His legacy continues to inspire millions who dream big despite humble beginnings. In the end, Elvis didn't need to confront his teacher or prove them wrong directly. His life itself was the answer. Every song he recorded, every stage he commanded, every heart he touched was a response far louder than words. The boy once told he would never be a singer ended up leaving behind one of the most powerful musical legacies in human history. And that is how Elvis Presley, at 14, wounded but determined, answered doubt not with anger, not with bitterness, but with history. With a legacy that continues to echo long after his voice faded. With music that still inspires, uplifts, and moves people around the world. Because sometimes the greatest revenge is success. And Elvis didn't just succeed. He transformed the world.